Welcome, this is Mr. Anderson. Today we are taking a look again at probabilities written as a fraction, a decimal, and a percentage. So like fraction like 1/3, right? Maybe 1/3 of the class has brown hair. I don't know. One out of every three students. And we could write that as a decimal. 1 divided by 3 would be 0.33 or 0.33 rounded to two decimal places. Converting that to a percentage, we'd write it, multiply that by 100 and write it 33%. Okay, or maybe we got 2/5. And we 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. You write 0.40 either way. Which is 40% when you multiply that by 100. So fractions, decimals, and percentages, all saying the same thing in a little bit different way. Let's take a look at some examples you'll run across. Okay, Jacob owns a small business selling bagels. He knows that in the last week, 108 customers paid with cash, 24 customers used a debit card, and 18 customers used a credit card. So three different forms of payment here. We got 108 using this cash, 24 using the debit card, and 18 using the credit card. Based on these results, express the probability that the next customer will pay with a debit card, just like these 24 up here. Pay with a debit card. Write it as a decimal to the nearest hundredth, so two decimal places. Let's see here. So we had 108 customers paying with cash, so by far the most paid with cash. Then 24 paid with a debit card, and 18 used a credit card. We had a total of, let's see, 108 plus 24 plus another 18. Throw that in our handy dandy calculator. We get 150. So we look at this like 100 or 108 out of the total of 150 customers paid with cash. These right here that use the debit card is 24 out of the 150 paid with a debit card. And then these credit card people, they were, what do we have? 18 out of the 150 paid with using a credit card. But the question is, express the probably next customer will pay with a debit card. So we are interested in these 24 here. So in the past, we would have every out of every 150 customers, 24 of them would pay with a debit card. If we divide that by 24 divided by 150, let's get our calculator out here. Okay, 24 divided by 150 would give us 0.16. 0.16. So I'll just write out like 24 divided by 150. That's what the fraction 24 out of the 150. So we take 24 divided by 150 is going to give us 0.16. And that's our answer. That is the probability that the next customer is going to pay with a debit card. Let's take a look at another example here. We've got Emily has a bag that contains orange chews, strawberry chews, and lime chews. Nice selection. She performs an experiment. Emily randomly removes a chew from the bag, records the results, and then returns the chew to the bag. And she does this 64 times. All right, and here's her results. All right, so out of the 64 times, 44 out of those 64 times, she selected an orange chew. 18 out of the 64 times, she selected a strawberry chew. And then only 2 out of the 64 times did she select a lime chew. Okay. So let's see. Based on these results, express the probability that the next chew Emily removed moves in the bag will be orange, an orange chew. Express that as a fraction in simplest form. Well, we already put it as a fraction up here. That was 44 out of the 64 times. 44 out of the 64 times. She selected an orange chew. Okay, but this is not quite the simplest form here. Notice they're both even numbers, so I know I can at least divide the top and the bottom by 2. That's really easy to do, so I'll just do that. Divide the top and the bottom in half. Let's see, 44 divided by 2 would give me 22. 64 divided by 2 would give me 32. And oh, hey, look, I can do that again. They're still both even, so let's do that again. 22 divided by 2 would give a 11. 32 divided by 2 would be 16. All right, and that's as simple as I can go. There's no number that they're both divisible by. All right, so let's see. That is it in a fraction in simplest form. There we go. 11 out of 16 times. All right, she gets an orange. She selects an orange chew 11 out of 16 times. Take a look at one more question here. A spinner is divided into 5 colored sections that are not of equal size: red, blue, green, yellow, and purple. The spinner is spun several times and the results are recorded below. All right, so I kind of drew a makeshift spinner here. You spin this little wheel around and around, and there's my little stopper there saying which section does it select as it's spinning around finally stops, and this time it looks like it stopped on purple. But here's the spin results. So they spun it a bunch of times, and 4 of the times it landed on red, 1 of the time it landed on blue, 15 of the times it landed on green, 12 of the times it landed on yellow, and 8 of the times it landed on purple. So how many total times are we talking about here? Let's see, 8 plus 12, there's 20, and there's 5 and 15. So this was a total of 40 times that they spun this thing. And 4 out of the 40, it landed on red. Only one out of the 40 times did it land on blue. 15 out of the 40 times landed on green. 12 out of the 40 times landed on yellow, and 8 out of the 40 times it landed on purple. You see, notice 1 out of the 40 times it landed on blue, and that's how it's represented in the spinner here. Just a little sliver here. You would not expect to land on that little blue section very often, right? Only 1 out of a 40 chance on landing on that blue. Whereas the green, that would have landed on green the most time. I'd expect that to be the largest section on this spinner, is to be in green. Okay. So that's our building some intuition into this scenario here. So let's read what they want us to answer. Based on these results, express the probability that the next spin will land on red as a percent to the nearest whole number. Okay, so this is what we're interested in right here. The red. So in the past, it has landed 4 out of the 40 times. Or 4 divided by 40 would be 0.1, 0.1, or you could say 0.10. And but they don't want a decimal. Here it is as a fraction, 4 over 40. Here it is as a decimal. They want it as a percentage, right? So I have to take this 0.10 and I have to multiply. Take that 0.10 and multiply times 100. And that's how you convert decimal to percentage, multiply by 100. And I get 10 times 100 gives me 10%. So 10% of the time it lands on red. And so probability in a percent to the nearest whole number. There we go, 10%. There's 3 examples that get you going on the probability fractions, decimals, and percentages. You go have fun with it.